beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable.
There it is! Doyle's done it!
Eastgate steps into poker history.
This is the greatest sport in the world!
Tonight, many of poker's biggest stars take their first step towards the game's ultimate prize, including two at the center of the poker universe. For Daniel Negreanu, the main event has been more heartache than joy.
You got me, buddy.
In his career, Daniel has only cashed twice in the big one.
I want to rebuy so bad you have no idea.
But as usual, his sights are set much higher.
My goal for the main event of the World Series is never to just last.
What do you think I got?
My goal is always just to win.
I'm all in.
Let's get this done.
Then there's Phil Hellmuth. The '89 champion took the 2008 main event by storm.
What do you think I have, boys?
With his play.
I'm all in.
And with his mouth.
Idiot from Northern Europe.
Idiot.
You are an idiot.
What will he do this year?
There's probably going to be talking to myself.
How do these players even last this long?
There's probably going to be some frustration.
Can't believe this.
Maybe I'll do something crazy and win it.
Yes! Yes! Two of the game's greats. One goal. Their main event journey begins now.
Yeah, baby. To you, it's poker, man. To me, this is my life.
Welcome to the 40th Annual World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad. It's day one all over again for a whole new cast of characters.
The World Series of Poker on ESPN.
Big names have come to the Rio for this third of four day one main event sessions.
Good luck, boy.
Including those who made a name for themselves last November.
Hi, Mom.
6 of the November 9 begin their quest to make it back to the final table, among them Dennis Phillips.
Brought a couple of friends again, just for the heck of it.
And no, you're not seeing double. He has once again brought his doppelganger entourage. But while Phillips' entourage is impressive, leave it to Phil Hellmuth to raise the stakes. All hail the poker brat who was making his usual grand entrance.
God save us.
He'll play at table 2, but at the center of poker's version of Circus Maximus is Daniel Negreanu. He is seated and ready to go at our featured table.
The main event not kind to Daniel. In the last 6 years, he's been knocked out on day one 3 times.
What am I gonna do about these sinuses? It's brutal. All of a sudden, I've been not sick the whole World Series, and all of a sudden just got...
Now, catching something's bound to happen with 60,000 entrants playing the 57 events, including nearly 6,500 for this main event alone. Let's see if Daniel can shrug it off. Action begins on Jeff Bryan and on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Pocket Cam.
I'm going to play this one different.
He has Queen 10 of diamonds, and he limps in for 100. Next in line is Jeff Allen D'Ambrosia. He has pocket 9s, and he calls for 100. Action folded around to Daniel Negreanu, 4-time bracelet winner with 5 tray offsuit.
Even with his bad sinuses, Daniel recognizes those small cards he loves.
He's on the button and a raise to 900. Next to him, young Jin Lee with ace-5 in the small blind.
Hi.
Daniel always friendly with his neighbors.
You wanted to play, huh? Too expensive?
Lee folded. Brian folds.
Somebody's got to have a little courage. Got to have a little courage, right?
Yeah, exactly.
D'Ambrosia actually has the raising hand.
He calls and will go heads up with Daniel. Flop is tray 10-5. Negreanu hits 2 pair.
Check. I never flop 2 pair when I have bad sinuses.
12.
Daniel bets 1,200. D'Ambrosia thinks his 9s are good. He calls.
D'Ambrosia has clear sinuses, but he's behind.
Turn card is a 4 of hearts.
Check.
22.
Daniel's going to make him pay to see the river.
D'Ambrosia not so sure now.
I don't want to play a big pot against you for that. That's not all that bright.
Maybe you got a good hand.
I do have a good hand.
You have a so-so hand.
You didn't make it like 500, 600. You made it 900. That was a lot.
Yeah. I wish you knew why. Oh, my goodness. This hand wasn't very good to start.
Daniel did raise pre-flop 9 times the big blind with 5-3 off.
I give it up.
But it got better after that board came out.
D'Ambrosia lays it down.
Yay, yay.
I had it.
He might be feeling under the weather, but Daniel would like nothing more than to rise to the main event occasion. Norman, Daniel Negreanu and Phil Hellmuth are 2 of poker's brightest stars.
But the fact that one has arrived in a typically unassuming way while the other is still making his usual over-the-top entrance simply underscores one of the many differences between the two.
Here is difference number one. Daniel brings positive energy to the poker table. Phil brings not so positive energy. Here is difference number two. Daniel struggles in the main event. Phil usually shines. And here is difference number three. Daniel has never worn a loincloth to the main event.
Well, this is something special, Norman. This perhaps is the most bizarre scene I have ever witnessed in my career.
If Tom Brady came to the Super Bowl this way, the NFL would shut down, but we embrace this. All hail Emperor Lunatic.
But, you know, lately the only poker player to rival Helmuth's celebrity is that of Annie Duke, who recently finished second on The Celebrity Apprentice. She's in a hand right now with 05 runner-up Steve Dannenman, who just pushed all in.
And he's got that boardroom frustration look to her.
And Annie will lay it down to Steve. And he graciously shows ace-queen for a full house.
And he's thinking first Donald Trump in the boardroom, now Steve Dannenman in the card room.
She does too much good in the world. I don't want to be that guy.
Well, Steve was almost the guy, if not for this guy, Joe Hashem, the 05 champ, who's right now in a hand with Hungarian poker pro Victoria Szilási.
Got you to smile.
Joe always gets me to smile, and he smells so good.
6,000.
Smiles and he raises to 6,000. Action on Szilási, who was a BBC journalist before turning pro, and she's going to lay it down to Joe.
I wasn't going to show, so I'm not.
Hashem trying to kill him with kindness. That's a Daniel Negreanu trick.
Joe Hashem, a champion who handles himself with dignity and grace. And then there's Phil Hellmuth.
There should be a gaming regulation against this, or just some common sense law.
Phil has entered the Rio poker room, and the fans cannot believe what they are seeing.
You know, he does look a little like Kirk Douglas and Spartacus.
Can you imagine Puggy Pearson doing something like this? Oh, my goodness. Phil's fellow pro Tony Cousineau getting some blackmail material.
Actually, doesn't Spartacus bleed to death at the end of that film?
I am in my seat, right?
I thought you had to be in your seat or your hand is dead. Spartacus plays by different rules.
Is this my first hand?
Phil's going to play it. Ace, 8 of spades. And he'll limp in for 100. Now Ottavio Tassone. Jack 10.
Raise it up.
Makes it 300.
You know what you're doing, sir?
I don't know what I'm doing. I mean,
Not you, the razor.
The Razor is a Canadian home builder, and he has decided to take on Spartacus, or Helmuthicus.
all right.
Phil's going to call. We'll see a flop. Flop is Trey 6-5.
Check it.
Phil's ahead.
I guarantee you if he bets, Helmuthicus will fold.
He does bet 650.
I think you're bluffing, but I'm going to let you go this time.
Thank you, sir. Quite a gesture from Poker Spratis.
Now I'm going to have to start check raising and playing the game.
Phil Hellmuth has arrived.
Let the games begin. That's right.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky, Player of the Year.
The 2009 bracelet season ended with a bang. David Bach took down the prestigious 50K Horse World Championship, and Greg Mueller became the fourth person to win 2 bracelets this year. Yet all accomplishments were overshadowed by one man who did something only 4 other people have ever done. Jeffrey Lissandro pulled off a trifecta.
Jeffrey, you got it, buddy.
He made history by joining Phil Hellmuth, Ted Forrest, Puggy Pearson, and Phil Ivey as the only players to win 3 World Series of Poker bracelets in 1 year. Once considered one of the greatest players to have never won a bracelet, Lissandro can now simply be called one of the greatest. Lissandro sitting on top of the Player of the Year leaderboard, but it's not over yet. The only player who can still catch him is Willy Walbeck, but he would have to be one of the November 9 to even have a chance. Lissandro trying to win a 4th bracelet this year. Back in action and stirring things up, he called the all-in of Stefano Del Beato, and he raised Danilo De Torres all-in one bold maneuver.
Lissandro has a home in Salerno, Italy. De Torres and Del Beato are Italian. I think there are 3 coins in a fountain right behind this table.
De Torres moved all in. Lissandro trying to knock 2 players out, shows pocket aces. De Torres flopped 2 pair. Del Beato flopped a set of queens.
Lissandro's pocket aces were out flopped, and De Torres now in miserable shape with queens up.
All right, big hand. Let's go to the turn. Turn card is Jack of Hearts. Del Beato still leads. It's all over for De Torres. Lissandra with a straight flush draw.
If Lissandra hits an ace, king, or a heart, 2 players would be gone.
It is a king. Lissandro comes from behind to win the hand and knock 2 opponents out.
Hey, pal, you're gone early from the main event, but at least you were knocked out by the hottest player here at the World Series.
And looks like they're getting a consolation prize.
I'm sorry. Did Mike Tyson used to pose for a photo with the guys he knocked out in the first round?
This one's for the Italian magazine. Sorry, boys. Bye-bye.
Well, that would be Jeffrey's 4th bracelet of this World Series if he can take down the main event. Back at our featured table, they are still buzzing about Phil Hellmuth's entrance.
Yeah, I got chills.
He's really wearing a toga.
Yeah, he's wearing a toga. He loves to show us his nipples. If you watch ESPN a lot, you notice there's a lot of nipple shots of Phil Hellmuth. He's either meditating with his tiny nipples or he's doing something. Always naked.
We've been showing Hellmuth naked and having run afoul of FCC regulations?
I think Daniel's getting worse by the minute.
I would recommend Puffs Plus.
Action does fold around to Negreanu, and he looks down at pocket aces.
Pocket aces usually clear the nasal passages.
Daniel in the small blind with a min raise. Action on young Jin Lee in the big blind. Jack 7 of clubs. And he calls.
I really don't understand the min raise of 100. When Daniel's feeling better, I'll ask him to explain it to me.
A flop and trip 7s for Lee to take the lead. Daniel first to act.
Daniel, of course, with aces up. Dangerous waters for him.
225. And now the 23-year-old South Korean student. Flat calls. 8 of hearts on the turn. 7's full now for Lee. Check, check.
Lee constructing a big trap for Daniel.
A tray on the river. Check mark for Lee.
800.
Check from Daniel. 800 from Lee.
A pot-sized bet, and Daniel is exasperated.
So weird. That's such a big hand. You have no idea. Biggest hand you can get.
Negreanu telling Lee, you're trying to crack aces.
And now you're betting 800.
This is where Hellmuth stands up and rants. Daniel handles it differently.
This sucks. Setting them all up. I had the big hand and bleh.
Norman Daniel seems to know right where he stands here, though.
All right, I'll let you bluff me.
Daniel folds. It's not a bluff. Lee shows.
That was good. Oh, well. So much for that hand.
Daniel's World Series has had some ups, but mostly downs, especially when it came to a challenge he and his friend Eric Lindgren made to the poker world.
Well, my buddy Eric Lindgren decided one day, let's challenge the whole world to the Player of the Year race.
You could pick any partner you wanted except for Phil Ivey. Barry Greenstein was the first to come to us, and he picked Jeff Lissandro. Good pick.
But we got a whole bunch more bet against other people. What's up? First couple weeks, I was on a roll. I mean, I was just boom, boom, boom. We had a nice big lead. Yeah, baby! Oh, I love this game. I'm having so much fun. Eric still hadn't gotten out of the gate, but he was, cashing here and there. And then all of a sudden, I kind of went a little ice cold, and Eric stayed ice cold.
I'd like to say it was fun, but I'd be lying.
All the bets are on shaky ground.
If you talk to Daniel, he will say that I was his downfall, and he'd be right.
He hasn't had a great year.
All told, if we lost all the bets, we would have a $1 million losing summer.
I'm a good supportive partner. I've never yelled at him.
He's trying to say like the nice things,
I've never made fun of him.
but I know what he really thinks.
Dude, what are you doing?
You suck, Lindgren. You suck. I feel terrible.
Me and Eric, we'll go down with the ship, okay? We're gonna lose some money this year, but next year, the offer's out there, world. Any 2 people you want, except for Phil Ivey. Player of the Year points. Me and Eric.
Daniel actually had a pretty good World Series, 8 cashes, 2 final tables. Eric, meanwhile, had just 4 small cashes.
Let's take a look at the main event chip colors and their denominations. Each player starts with 30,000 chips, which is 10,000 more than last year. And a lot of players like those extra chips. Phil Hellmuth in action at table 2, and he's traded in his toga for more traditional togs. And a hand with Mark Davis right now, poker pro from Orlando. Both flopped an ace. Phil's jack kicker is best.
Hellmuthicus is simply the poker brat again.
Turn card is a 4. No help to Davis.
This year's the 20th anniversary of Phil winning the main event.
Better bet 900.
Phil's going to bet 900 with his better ace. Davis makes a call. River card is a 6 that pairs the board. 4th diamond on board. Hellmuth checks. 2,100 from Davis.
Hellmuth showed weakness. Davis shows strength. Let's see if Phil can realize he still has the better hand.
See Hellmuth with the check mark. And he lays down the best hand.
Oh, please show it to him. Please.
Wow. You were value betting or what?
No, I had to turn my hand into a bluff, Phil. You know, I learned from the best. I read your book first, you know. Play poker like the pros, as they say, right?
Uh-oh, Phil might ignite.
Good play.
Huh,
Good play.
nothing.
The real Caesar would have fed Davis to the Lions.
Put your seatbelts on, ladies and gentlemen. Turbulence is coming.
Welcome back to the Rio, where Mike the Mouth Matiso has come to the rail to cheer on his buddy, Phil Hellmuth.
If I have to outplay him, I'm going to outplay him.
When two of the biggest talkers talk to each other, does either one listen to the other?
I was sitting at
Mike fought through his first day successfully, finishing with almost 38,000 chips.
I'm about to win another pot.
Ottavio Tassone will try to have something to say about that. Pocket fours. And he will call for 200. Over to Tony Cousineau. Cousineau with ace-9.
Cousineau holds the record for most World Series cashes without a bracelet, 41. Of course, Phil Hellmuth holds the record for most World Series cashes, 74, and bracelets, 11.
Cousineau makes the call. Next in line, Dennis Cronin, an electrical lineman from Pennsylvania.
Electrical lineman, yet another job I can't do.
With ace-10, Cronin's going to raise it up to 1,000. Phil in the big blind with Jack-8 of hearts.
You raise?
Cronin learned to play poker after breaking his neck. Now he's in a hand with a pain in the neck, Phil Hellmuth.
Phil calls. Tassone puts in 800 more to call. Cousineau folds his ace-9.
Well, this is a new Phil Hellmuth. He normally would muck that hand in a heartbeat with a big raise in front of him.
10-7-9. Phil looks excited, and why not? He hit the straight. Cronin with top pair, top kicker.
4,000?
A bet of 4,000.
I better raise it up a little.
Phil moves all in.
I'm all in.
Day one.
I guess Hellmuth doesn't want any action.
See you later, Mike.
He's gone all in with the nuts on the flop, and he acts like he does have a big hand.
He got Tassone to fold, and so does
See you
Cronin.
later, Mike. This time I called the race with Jack-8, but it came a 7, a 9, and a 10.
Phil, you're off to a good start, it looks like. Okay, I was just checking on you. Enjoy.
Matiso and Hellmuth made deep runs last year, but that man almost won the main event. Third place finisher Dennis Phillips playing today with a scaled down entourage. He's again brought the truck horn, which lets everyone know when Dennis drags a pot.
Dennis says he now plays better poker than he did when he made the November 9.
Dennis put out a bet, and he gets his opponent to fold, much to the delight of his Philippians on the rail, as they are known.
Oh, jeez.
It's going to get me eventually.
It got me already.
Just a matter of time.
I didn't hear it.
Wait till he gets it fully charged.
Oh, boy, I can't wait for that.
I haven't warned you and I didn't know how to do it.
David Tucker is the man on the horn for Dennis. Group support seems to be a trend here at the Rio, from the Phillips supporters to people rooting on a friend, colleague, or member of their home game. Then there are those wearing the Playing for Pruitt t-shirts. They're all here in support of this man, Frankie Gay, who has come to the main event this year to honor someone who will always be in his heart.
My son's named Pruitt, and I'm here today because of him. He was in a 14-month tour of Afghanistan with the U.S. Army Airborne, the 173rd. But his outpost, there was 11, and all 11 of them played the poker every night. He would call me and tell me about his hands. That was his out while being over there. That was our connection. And he said, when I get home, we'll go play the World Series of Poker. But then he got a call. His new orders was to stay another month. July 13, 2008. The Taliban outran their outpost. 9 of them were killed. And he was one of them. You know, the call came. And I was hoping it was him, but it wasn't. We were coming to the World Series of Poker, and we didn't make it, so I'm here today to play for him. And just getting here is special to me. He's a great son. I know that he would do good, and I'm playing through Pruitt, and that's the only thing that matters.
Frankie says that many of the troops follow the World Series while deployed, and he wants them all to know how much their sacrifices mean to the poker players. Frankie in a hand right now with Tommy who just bet 1,700 on the river with the board showing 2 pair and a king.
Frankie is trying to put together a charity tournament for troops to honor his son Pruitt.
Frankie makes the call of 1,700, turns over pocket tens, and who says that is good enough to take the pot?
Pruitt was honored for saving 2 soldiers' lives before he died in Afghanistan.
Frankie with that pot now over the 30,000 chip starting stack. Let's get back to our feature table. Daniel's health is in decline along with his chip stack.
Anybody bring a box of tissues with them? You did? I'll take a couple if you don't mind.
What are the odds that the guy sitting next to Daniel has a box of tissues? I wish the guy sitting next to Phil Hellmuth had a polo mallet.
All right, action on Daniel Negreanu at this featured table. Ace-Jack.
Actually, I've got some Afrin and Benadryl and Sudafed and Sinutab if he wants.
Daniel with another min raise.
Well, I don't think a guy should play an ace with a sinus infection. Your judgment's just off.
Jeff Bryan in the small blind. Queen 6 of diamonds. He makes the call. Now over to Jeff Allen D'Ambrosia in the big blind. Ace 5 of hearts.
Well, he's got a worse ace than Daniel, but his sinuses are clear. Advantage to D'Ambrosia.
3 players to the flop, one of them pretty sick. Ace 9 tray, a pair of aces for Negreanu and D'Ambrosia. Daniel with a better kicker that pretty much missed Bryan. He checks.
400.
400 from D'Ambrosia.
Call.
Daniel with his better kicker calls. Jeff Bryan folds.
He's behind, but I've got to favor the healthier man.
Turn card is a king. Negreanu still ahead. D'Ambrosia to act first.
800.
800.
He bets.
If we had a whole card cam inside of Daniel's head right now, it wouldn't be a pretty sight.
Daniel makes the call. And these two will see a river card. 10 of diamonds. Negreanu earns the check mark with the better kicker.
Check.
A check from D'Ambrosia. Daniel makes it 1,500.
I shouldn't have doubted Daniel. His judgment is not congested.
You have a flush draw or something?
Yeah, sure.
I put you on a flush draw. I figured maybe.
No, you didn't.
No, I really did.
You know I didn't have a flush.
I did. That part's true. Now I think you have an ace.
You think?
Yeah. What a genius read that is, huh?
It's good for TV. I call you.
He does call.
I got ace-jack.
That beats ace 5.
And winning that hand should make Daniel Negreanu feel a little better.
Thank you.
A pot of tea is what Daniel really needs, but winning that pot won't hurt one bit.
Yay me.
The World Series of Poker main event.
Welcome back to the Rio at the featured table. Though under the weather, Daniel Negreanu's probably feeling a little better after turning trip 9s, but he'd feel a little sicker knowing that Barry Wiedemann also has trip 9s with a jack kicker to Daniel's 8 kicker. Wiedemann checks the turn.
To prepare for the main event, Daniel likes to take a 3 or 4 day break playing golf. Then he watches Rocky.
Daniel bets about half the pot, 450.
Wiedemann attended Florida State where he studied broadcast meteorology. Please. Weekend TV weatherman has got to be an easier job than poker commentator.
He makes a raise to 1,100.
Guess I could have checked.
Daniel calls. He's not going anywhere.
Yep, that check raise set off alarms in Daniel's clogged head.
River card. Oh, it's an 8. Negreanu. River's a full boat. Gets the check mark.
See, Daniel didn't need to study broadcast meteorology to get lucky on the river.
Wiedemann checks. Daniel makes it 2,500.
With that bet, the storm clouds are approaching for Wiedemann.
Talk about alarms going off.
Guess you could have checked, huh?
Yeah.
Wiedemann doesn't like it.
But he calls anyway. Yeah, that's a full house. Negreanu plays the river rat.
Jeez, I had a feeling that was I mean, I thought you had another kick.
Wiedemann wishes he were still tracking afternoon showers, and Daniel gets a little healthier.
Yeah, thanks to that river card. Norman, did you know that Daniel was asked to be on the Survivor TV show? He didn't want to miss the World Series that year, so he turned it down, and in his place went this man, Jean-Robert Ballon.
Why can't Hellmuth go strand himself on a desert island?
But Ballon's not the most famous reality show star in the room. That, of course, would be Annie Duke, who made a splash with her Celebrity Apprentice appearance. Annie's all in against Keith Lear.
Annie finished second to Joan Rivers on Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh, please call.
She should have won. She got robbed in broad daylight on prime time.
Lear folds here, and she does win that hand.
It was like watching a Celtics game when they get all the calls. Annie was ripped off.
Annie tried to sell that call to no avail. She did show off her good sales skills in Celebrity Apprentice, but Annie would tell you it was her finely tuned poker skills that helped her the most.
The Celebrity Apprentice is a game like any other game. And I came up with a strategy pretty quickly. You have to have a lot of confidence. It was very important to keep your ears open and not get your emotions involved. Because that's what I do at the poker table. A good poker player is an extremely good observer. I'm going to say that objection. Now you guys can overrule me. And so that's what I was. I was a really good observer. The personal attacks interest me. I think that the boardroom is tenser for other people than it was for me. They'd be throwing each other under the bus. And I would just stay calm in the storm of what was going on around me.
Annie was just cool as a cucumber.
That's a poker skill. It comes from understanding that when people are trying to put you on tilt, that the only way to hand them any power is to actually go on tilt.
She plays us like a deck of cards.
I went into that finale pretty sure that Joan was going to win. And then all of a sudden he looks at me, he's like,
Annie, you know what I'm going to say?
And what's always followed of that is hired.
You're fired.
The finale of Celebrity Apprentice. Donald Trump slow rolls me. I was like, are you serious? All right, you go.
On Celebrity Apprentice, Annie was told that poker players are trash. Maybe so, but at least we're loyal, honest, and look pretty good in a Roman toga.
In spite of all the abuse, Annie did raise $730,000 for Refugees International. Her brother, Howard Lederer, right there, helped with the donation. And it looks like Howard is still in a charitable mood as he fattens the chip stack of his opponent. Howard's tens losing to jacks. Back to another player who holds a good cause near to his heart, Frankie Gay, in a hand against Neil Channing. They're on the river with a dangerous board. Frankie bets $2,800. Channing comes over the top all in. Frankie makes the call. Channing shows a nut flush. Gay the second nut flush.
So what a cold deck for Frankie Gay. He flops second nut flush. Channing flops the nut flush. Ugly.
Frankie takes a hit there, but he still has plenty of chips to play with. Let's go over to table 2. Phil Hellmuth is in a hand with Bob Lilquist.
Sounds like a Northern European name.
Born in Zurich, Switzerland.
Close enough.
After Lilquist limped in with King 8 of hearts, Phil raised with pocket Jackson. Lilquist made the call. Now the flop, King 6-10. Lilquist with a pair of kings. Phil bets $1,100.
Hellmuth takes step 1 into the Valley of Unhappiness.
Yeah, Lilquist just with the call. Deuce on the turn, no help to Phil. He's not worried, though. $1,800.
Hellmuth takes another step into the Valley of Unhappiness.
Lilquist again just calls. Phil needs some help on the river. And it's another king. Lilquist ends up with trip kings and a check mark. Phil checks this time.
Phil slows down.
$2,400.
I hope Hellmuth picks up on that accent.
Value size bet from Lilquist. Phil calls.
Meltdown in 3, 2, 1.
What the?
Well
I
done.
called the race with frickin' King 8.
This is the Valley of Unhappiness.
Man.
Hellmuth not happy with Lilquist's call of his pre-flop raise.
Moronic players are the worst players.
There are actually new rules in place to prevent player abuse. It's the Phil Hellmuth rule.
King 8.
Easy call. What position?
You want to discuss the hand, really?
No, I don't know.
What's the reasoning behind calling the race with King 8? Just why not?
Position.
Figures look at a donkey to pay off with jacks.
We'll see who the donkey is at the end of the day, sir.
Donkey to be decided, but there's no disputing who the poker brat is.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back to the Rio. Almost 1,700 players started their run today for a share of the $61 million prize pool, $8.5 million to our winner. All in all, there are 6,494 entrants at the main event, and that means there are 6,494 characters.
This game's fun.
6,494 dreams.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And 6,494 stories. And here is one of the most compelling. Kent Center has cancer and only a short time to live. It was a dream of his to come play in the main event of the World Series of Poker. He's joined by his wife Patty and his 2 children, Tyler and Kaylin. They are on the rail to support their poker-playing father and watch him realize his dream. Right now he's in a hand against Yan Chen, who just bet $10,000 into Kent. Kent makes the call.
Okay, let's see him, please.
Showdown time. Kent opens up, and he's got a pair of kings, and that will win the pot.
Kent says he has 3 dreams: to be an astronaut, drive an Indy car, and play at the World Series of Poker.
We do wish Kent good luck, and we'll keep you up to date on his tournament progress. Meanwhile, in another part of the Rio, Annie Duke is all in and behind after the flop against 05 runner-up Steve Danneman.
We got a couple more out.
Danneman leads with pocket nines against Annie's ace-king. Annie trying to stick around. Turn card now is another queen. That's not the worst card for Annie.
Oh, good.
Ace, king, jack, 10. I'm not feeling it, though.
Danneman looking to knock out Duke. She needs an ace, king, jack, or 10.
Put your bag down, girl.
And now the river card is a deuce. Danneman wins the hand.
Annie, you're fired.
Annie Duke knocked out on day one of the main event.
Here they go.
And she gets consoled by Steve Danneman, who himself was once consoled by this man, Joe Hashem, when Hashem beat him heads up in the 2005 main event.
I'm all in.
Hashem has just put a lot of pressure on his opponent, Casey Yance.
Want to go home, then you go all in.
World champs.
World champs do 6 speeches.
With an Australian accent, which makes it sound better.
There's just no way you don't have it.
Yance folds.
Okay, I'm not all in. I'm not all in. Take it back.
Hashem wins with an aggressive move right there. He knows that sometimes, though, the bigger win is laying down to an all-in. A lesson learned on his way to the 05 championship, and something we'll hear from him in this edition of Straight from the Pros, brought to you by PokerStars.net.
It was on day 5 of the main event. It was the first hand that I played with Steve Danneman.
Joseph Hashem, ace-king of diamonds. Steve Danneman, pocket nines.
I was under the gun, and I made it 160,000 to go, and he just smooth called from middle position.
Whoa, now a set of nines for Danneman.
It was such a good flop for me, having the ace-king of diamonds in my hand. I elected to check. He bet out, and I check-raised him.
Hashem now with 1,000,000 chips back to Danneman.
All in.
With so much on the line. It was one of those moments where, how do I fold such a big hand? Steve was so relaxed. He was happy to wear his glasses. He was happy to recheck his cards. He was talking so much with me.
Take your time. Think about it.
The only way you can be comfortable is if you flop the set.
I'll leave it till another time.
It was probably the biggest laydown of my poker career.
Whatever you have, nice hand.
Know when you're beat. Don't get married to your cards. If you're not able to let go of big hands, you can't win.
Hashem has proven his mettle. Since winning the main event in 05, he's made 2 other World Series final tables.
Time for our Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand as we play along to figure out one player's card.
This is just getting worse.
Daniel, I got to leave, Claritin, Zyrtec.
Now I got a headache. I just started.
Oh, then I got Excedrin, Bear, Advil.
Oh, Daniel's got ace-5, along with bad sinuses. And Daniel's going to raise it up. A min raise to 400. Jeff Bryan folds. D'Ambrosio folds. Now to Maurizio Cohen. And he's got the Jack Link's wild card hand.
Oh, great.
From the big blind, he makes a call for 200 more.
Daniel min raised. There are 1,326 possible combinations of hole cards you can have. I believe Cohen could have any one of them.
The flop is a couple of 7s and a 10. We know that didn't hit Daniel. Cohen first to act. He checks.
That tells me nothing.
Daniel, 400.
I still have no read, Lon. Hey, I am not a fortune teller. I am not a soothsayer. I'm not even a good poker player. I know nothing.
Cohen immediately called, though.
I do have some Vicks NyQuil liquid caps that could help Daniel.
Turn card is a deuce. Legrano still doesn't catch any of that board. Cohen checks again. Now give me something, Norman.
Oh, get off my case, partner. Okay, maybe he's got a small pocket pair.
After Cohen's check, Daniel bets 750.
Daniel postures again.
What do I have? It doesn't matter what I have. What matters is what you have.
That's what we're all trying to figure out.
He calls.
I'm waving the white flag, Lon.
You don't know?
No 8, no 9.
Well, Daniel's put him on a straight draw, but I am clueless.
River card is an ace, and Daniel hits aces up.
Well, at this point, I will tell you, Lon, that the board is 7-7-10 deuce ace.
I could do that. Cohen check.
I don't know why Daniel would bet here. If Cohen missed his draw, he can't even call. If Daniel's read's wrong, he could be check raised.
Daniel does bet. And a call.
I have the ace.
But it's ace-queen for Cohen. He'll take the hand.
Good hand.
Oh, ace of spades, queen of hearts. Yeah, that would have been my second guess. If you knew that at home, well, good for you.
That's our Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand. The moves get louder with every chip Daniel loses. The crowd favorite better get it in gear or he won't be back for a return engagement on day 2. Welcome back to the Rio. Well, let's go right to table 2, where Phil Hellmuth has been active today, right now in a hand with 2 new arch rivals. Phil raised pre-flop with ace-queen. Mark Davis has pocket 4s. Bob Lilkos with jack-9. The flop missed all 3.
He's the guy from Northern Europe, right?
Yeah, he was born there, but he lives in Canada now. Check, check, over to Davis. He bets 2,200 with his small pocket pair. Lilkos folds.
You got it, kid?
$20 is the best hand.
Phil folds.
$20?
You want me to pay to see your hand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Kid's got moxie.
Yes. $20, it's the best hand. Hey, drinks on Phil tonight, boys. There, bro.
Yeah, just because you're using it to buy drinks, I'm gonna put up another 40 for your group to buy drinks.
Thank you, Phil.
Oh, come on, Phil. You had a harem of women carrying you into the Rio, and you can only shell out a couple of double sawbucks for drinks?
See you in Aruba again.
Oh, you guys are from Aruba? There's another 100 to buy drinks.
Oh, that's more like it. Phil's in a good mood right now.
There you go.
Hellmuth buying drinks. That sounds like something Scotty Wynn would do.
And my brother's wife's pregnant, too, so it'd help with the baby fund.
Don't push your luck, buddy. And speaking of Scotty Wynn, he's currently in a hand against Tommy Chin. After the river, there's a straight on the board.
You think you get some of that?
I had a straight on the turn.
Scotty put out a bet of 20,000.
Was it good?
With Scotty's bet here, he's trying to represent. He has a 9 in his hand for a 9 high straight.
Okay.
And makes the call.
Chop it up, baby.
Scotty tried to shimmy sham the kid.
They both play the board and split this pot.
I was asking my friends at dinner break if you were tight, like how you played, and they said you were tight.
Remember
Ultra leg?
2007, I have $22 million. 11 player left. I'm gone at 11, so you know. And then you think I'm tight?
Yeah, Scotty's tight like I'm buff.
Scotty doing well, over 50,000 chips. Back at our featured table, Daniel Negreanu is hurting. Under 20,000 chips, but over 12,000 tissues. He's in a losing battle with that gold.
I've got ibuprofen, I've got Actifed, I've got Flintstone vitamins.
Action on Negreanu. Ace-queen offsuit.
400.
Still min raising.
It's been a day of min raising for him. Small pots, lots of flops.
Young Jin Lee with king 10 of spades. He will come along. Jeff Bryan looks down at pocket kings.
Bryan was 27th in the 07 main event and 437th last year. A very solid amateur.
He's going to raise it up to 1,200. Daniel will call.
Have I mentioned lately I hate ace-queen?
That's pretty well known. Lee calls, so Jeff Bryan gets 2 takers. We'll see a flop here, 9, queen 7. Bryan's kings are still best. Daniel with top pair, but still sick. Lee with a gut shot. Negreanu and Lee check. And Bryan comes out with 2,100.
I don't want to give my ace-queen speech again, but that's a great flop for Daniel, and he's way behind.
Even with top pair. He calls. Lee calls, needing a jack for a straight.
So Lee likes the pot odds, so he makes a loose call there.
Turn card is a deuce. Bryan's still best with his kings.
Daniel usually can sniff these things out, but he's under the weather, and his radar is faulty.
Daniel first to act. Checks again. Lee checks behind him again. Bryan continues to bet his kings, half the pot again.
Bryan's pretty comfortable. Daniel's pretty congested.
Daniel calls the 5,000.
Daniel's calling off a lot of chips here. I know he's not feeling well, but he's going to feel a lot worse when he realizes how bad he's playing.
Lee gets out of the way. Heads up now to the river. It is a 7 that pairs the board. Jeff Bryan with the check mark. Kings up.
And Daniel, of course, with queens up.
Daniel checks again.
I knew he had king. What am I doing? It's so stupid.
Bryan showed him the winning hand. Kings up and takes a 20,000 chip pot from Daniel.
And Daniel's frustrations grow. He's under 10,000 chips.
It's dumb.
In poker, wondering if it's too late to call in sick. Welcome back to the Rio. 1700 began this day 1 session. Everyone hoping to survive and make it to day 2. And that includes Frankie Gay. An emotional day for him, but he's still got chips, and that's all that matters.
It's going real good. He's doing really, really good. Definitely feeling through it with us today. No doubt about that.
It is a good day for Frankie Gay. It does look like he's going to be making day 2.
It's been a good day for Joe Hashem, too.
Am I like the worst poker player in the world? I even tell people not to put their chips in the middle.
Despite what he thinks.
Can't win against Joe.
Joe over 80,000 chips.
Hey, Joe, maybe you'll get your one time this year.
From a champion who berates himself to a champion who berates anyone within earshot, Phil Hellmuth in a hand right now with Anthony Newman. Phil raised pre-flop to 1,200. Newman made the call. We're going to the flop.
Newman has a PhD in philosophy. Sitting with Hellmuth might make him question the meaning of life.
9, Queen, 10. Hellmuth with a Queen high straight.
Second time Phil has flopped a straight today with Jack 8.
Phil's going to come out betting 1,800. Newman with top pair and a gut shot is going to raise it to 5,300.
All right.
And Phil calls.
I'm a little steamed up.
Phil trying to act weak.
Turn card 3 of spades. Newman's world looking a little brighter. He has a flush draw. Phil checks.
Phil will now lay in the weeds. Why do people lay in the weeds?
I don't know. It's dirty over there. Newman could make a bigger straight than Phil. Comes out for 5,600.
All right, I call.
Phil check calls.
Phil trying to feign weakness. He was a better actor when he was dressed up as Caesar.
River card now is a spade, and Newman rivers a flush and gets the check mark.
We have now been plunked down, Lon, in the abyss that is the valley of unhappiness.
Phil checks his straight. Newman checks his flush.
I flop a straight.
Oh, my goodness. I hope the table is nailed down.
Straight's not good here.
Well played.
Well played? What is that?
Can you just hold on a second, dealer?
Just doing my job.
Well, let's go ship the pot, right?
It is the valley of unhappiness. There are no malls, no spas, no children playing in the park.
They actually cheered for you.
I think they just like me better.
I mean, is this some kind of joke? I mean, I can't even believe what I'm seeing.
So we leave the valley of unhappiness and go back to what has been the pit of despair for Daniel Negreanu. He's short-stacked and feeling awful. It's been a rough day. Action starts on Ricardo Cibello. On the Jack Link Speed Jerky Pocket Cam, Ace-Jack.
Cibello, a 29-year-old from the Netherlands.
And he will limp in with Ace-Jack. Daniel Negreanu now. Pocket trays.
Call.
Daniel just calls. On Young Jin Lee now with pocket queens.
Lee, another StarCraft veteran. That game's out of my league.
And with pocket queens, he's going to raise it up to 2,000.
Did it on purpose?
Action folds back around to Cibello. Does he want to play? He says, sure.
I'll gamble with the boys.
And Daniel's going to gamble too.
Daniel's way under the weather. He likes to see flops, but he likes to see them cheap. I'm surprised he called there.
Flop is 10-7-10. Leads pocket queens. Keep him ahead. And he's going to find out now if an opponent has a 10. Bets 4,200.
Well, Lee's saying if nobody's got the 10, I'm good. And he is.
Cibello folded.
Daniel's radar is clogged.
My head is pounding. You have no idea. Ace again? What you got?
No.
No ace?
Yeah.
Yep or no?
No.
You don't have an ace.
Well, I don't think Lee has to answer those questions without his lawyer present.
It's going to take me a minute.
It's been a bad day for Daniel, and it will turn worse if he plays on in this hand. If Daniel does play on, he'll probably be committing all of his chips.
Oh, Lee looks a little uncomfortable.
You can call a clock if you want. I don't mind. Really. I'm taking way too long. It's true. I'll call a clock on myself. Okay.
That's a professional move right there.
Never seen that before.
Can you do that?
You have 60 seconds to act on your hand. At the end of 60 seconds, you'll receive a 10-second countdown. If it's still inactive at the end of 10 seconds.
Wow, he really did call a clock
I guess you can.
I didn't know you could call the clock on yourself. I should have done that with my second marriage.
All right.
All in?
Daniel, all in.
You got a big pair?
How much?
Lee makes the call.
Queens? Good hand. 3 would hurt, huh?
Daniel's head hurts, and he is just in a fog.
Wow. I was folding, then calling, then folding. Like I changed mine 17 times. Then I just felt like maybe a 3 will come.
Lee cracked Daniel's aces earlier. He's in position to crack Daniel's main event. Turn card is a 6, no help to Negreanu.
He's got scared of a 6? A 6 scared you?
Well, Daniel needs half a 6, a 3, and a 3 only, or Negreanu's main event is over early again.
River card is a jack, and that's going to do it. Lee wins the hand, knocking off Negreanu.
We'll get some meds.
Another early exit from the main event for Daniel. Not feeling well all day. He'll have a whole year to rest up. Day one of the main event was a time for some to take their medicine and look towards next year. Phil Hellmuth will be remembered for his entrance and, of course, his antics.
Come on, man.
Kent Center continues his memorable run, as does Jeffrey Lissandro, who is among the chip leaders in pursuit of his 4th bracelet this year. 4 is the number of the November 9 who made it through, as their quest for back-to-back final tables is still in play.
We have survived.
For Frankie Gay, his sentimental journey has more modest goals.
Just to make it through day 2, it means everything. I've already won.
Congratulations to all who made it to day 2. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. See you next time as the main event rolls on.